Uh, the story I got to tell today is not about gun stuff. I just wanted to tell you guys how I got arrested for espionage in Russia back in 1996. Okay, what happened is back in 1990s. Well, in the 90s, I did some sort of crazy stuff. I bought machine guns and suppressors and silencers, I should say, and I got a lot of different kind of guns and stuff. And I went to the Ukraine, I went to Russia, I went to Poland, crazy places like that. And in 1996, I went to meet a girl who I was corresponding with in Russia, and she lived in a place called Yekaterinburg. That's that's a Russian name for it. The English, it's Catherineburg, and Catherineburg was named after the Tsarina of Russia, Catherine the Great. But during the Soviet time, it was actually called Sverdlovsk. And in 1960, a guy by the name of Francis Gary Powers, he got shot down in a U-2 spy plane while he was flying over Sverdlovsk and taking some pictures of things he should have been taking pictures of. And I guess it just appears that Sverdlovsk, they still didn't like American spies, so they were still on the lookout for him, and I got caught. Well, I didn't get caught. All right, I wasn't really a spy. All right, but they thought I was a spy. Maybe, I don't know. So in 1996, I flew over to meet this girl. Now, don't ask what I was doing what I was going to do to meet this girl. You guys know, okay? So first, I had to fly to Moscow. Okay, so I flew into Moscow, and I had hired a tour guide, this lady tour guide. And one of the things I wanted to see is I want to see where the KGB building is, And she said, "Well, what do you want to see that for? What are you, American spy?" So I said, "Yeah, I'm an American spy. I just wanted to admit it right now." In hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but I lucked out at that time because that particular lady, she was an anti-Soviet. So she took it as it was a joke. So she took me, I was only going to be in Moscow for about a day because I had to go from Moscow to Sverdlovsk, or also known as Catherineburg, also known as Yekaterinburg. So I had to stay in Russia for a day before I could catch my flight. And in that day, I went and saw the subway in Moscow. The Moscow subway is freaking amazing. You have never seen a subway like there is in Moscow. It must be 20 stories down. It's amazing. Anyway, we also went to see the Red Square, and the thing that always pissed me off to this day, is that I wasn't able to see Lenin under glass. You see, Lenin was the first communist leader of the Soviet Union, and he died, I think, in 1926 or so. I think stroke or something like that. And the Russians, for some reason, they just couldn't part with his freaking body, so they put it in a mausoleum. And so they put this guy's rotting corpse in this mausoleum, and I think it might even still be there. I don't know. Did they get rid of it yet? Did they bury the poor thing? Anyway, to me, that's respect. Bury the guy, for Christ's sake. Don't let his body just hang out. Anyway, so it was on a Sunday, and the damn mausoleum was closed. And I'm thinking, why couldn't they show us his body, for Christ's sake? Why? What is this? Is his corpse sleeping in on Sunday or something? Come on. So I think what it was is it might be a religious thing, but Lenin himself, he was a freaking commie, and most commies are atheists, so I don't get it. Anyway, I didn't get a chance to see Lenin. That still bothers me to this day. It just still bothers me. Anyway, so I got on this plane and I flew over to meet this girl in Yekaterinburg, and I flew on a Tupolev 154. It's a Russian plane that looks a lot like an American Boeing 727 with the 3 engines in the back. So I flew over there and I landed at the Sverdlovsk airport. They still call it the Sverdlovsk airport. So I landed on the runway, and as we're taxiing down this runway, I'm looking out the window. I had a window seat. I'm looking out the window, and I see the burned out wreckage of the same kind of plane I'm flying in it. And apparently, I found out later that a couple of days earlier, one of those planes flew in it and it crashed on the runway and it burned. And everyone got freaking killed, and they just pushed it off the freaking runway, the wreckage. I don't know what they did to the bodies. I hope they buried them. I hope they didn't put them under glass for people to look at. I forgot to mention that every couple of years they have to do maintenance on Lennon's body. They basically pour some wax over his face and his hands and stuff to make it look like he's still human or something. It's gross. Anyway, so I landed in Sverdlovsk. I keep going back and forth, but I landed in Sverdlovsk, and the airport was like the worst airport you could ever imagine. There were stray dogs walking in and out of the damn airport because the doors were broken open. It was crazy. So I met the girl over there, and we had a good time. She took me to one of these resorts they had, and this was a resort during the communist time. Is if you were a really good worker, they'd send you to this resort along with a bunch of other really good workers, and you'd spend a week over there. You'd spend a week, hitting each other with twigs in the steam cabinets and swimming in the pools over there and playing a little badminton or whatever they did, and you'd be hiking around in the mountains out there in the forest. So that's basically what we did, except I didn't get hit by the sticks. I was in the cabinet though, but I didn't use the sticks on me. I'm not into that. So we did go on a hike. And when I went on this hike in the forest, I got bitten by the biggest mosquitoes I've ever seen. I live in Florida, and I thought mosquitoes were bad here, but the mosquitoes that are in Yekaterinburg, Sverdlovsk, they're like freaking this big. The wingspan on them, I'd feel something bite me in the head, and I'd slap myself, and the blood would be dripping off my hand. And I figure, how can these mosquitoes get that big when they only live for like 2 months? Because they're born in like June or July, and they live through August, and by September they freeze to death because that's the way the weather is over there. You only got like two good months of weather because it freezes. That's Siberia. It's cold. So we went and to a place called the Sverdlovsk Sea. It's just a big lake, but they call it the Sverdlovsk Sea. Russians. So I got a chance. So the lady says, with me, you want to go and swim in it? It's a little cold. A little cold. I froze my balls off in that thing. It must have been like 40 degrees, the water in there. But I knew I was never going to go back there again. So I figured, let me swim in the Sverdlovsk Sea so I can say, I swam in the Sverdlovsk Sea. I could just tell people that's one of the things that I did. And the frozen balls was fine because they thawed out. So I swam in the sea. And I'm going to get to the story now about how I got arrested. All right, relax. So then after we had our little holiday out there, we went back into the city. And she wanted to show me the subway they had in Sverdlovsk, Katerinburg. And this is what happened. We were in the subway. And it's a much smaller subway than in Moscow, of course. But it's still way underground. And I had my video camera out. You know where this is going, folks. I was taking some videos. I said, this is cool. I was taking some videos with my video camera. And all of a sudden, the girl I was with, she said, Scott, you see that lady over there? There was an old woman who was sweeping up by the subway tracks there. Not the tracks, by the place where you get on the subway, on the raised place. So she's cleaning up and she's looking at us and she's giving us the evil eye and there's like little lasers coming out of her eyes. And all of a sudden she turns around and she walks away. And my girlfriend says, you know what? She might be calling the cops on us. And I says, well, why would they want to call the cops on us? He says, well, I think it might be illegal for you to take videos in here. So I'm thinking, well, why didn't you tell me this? I don't want to get thrown in jail here. So she said, no problem. Just take the next train that comes. Get on there and let's get the hell out of here. So this train is just coming up when these freaking cops come out and they grab me. So next thing I know, I'm in a cage. It was like a big freaking cage. And I'm sitting in this cage. And these cops, they're sitting there watching the videos on my video camera. Thank God I didn't take any bedroom videos. Then we would have both been in trouble. But I think I didn't take no bedroom videos. I mean, I forgot to bring a tripod for my camera. Now, I wouldn't have taken them anyway, okay? But it would have been nice if I would have had a tripod. I could have done some nice videos otherwise. But so they were looking at the videos, and they were trying to figure out if I was taking videos in there as a spy or something, because they're telling me that they used the subway as a bomb shelter, and they had a sign that I didn't notice that says no camera pictures or else you will be arrested and thrown in whatever nasty stuff. And so basically I'm sitting in this damn jail. And like I said, it was like a cage. It was like a little freaking cage about the size of the top of this table here. So I'm sitting there for like 4 hours. I was sitting there and I says, what the hell? And they were trying to figure out what to do with me. And they're calling and it's getting up higher and higher on the line, you know, what they're going to do with me. And finally, I got mad and I says, look, I'm an American citizen. I want to see the American consulate. And because in Spirit Lawson, we didn't have an embassy there. We had a consulate. So I want to see the American consulate and talk to him because you're holding me illegally, you know. So one or two things could have happened. Either way, they would have gotten scared and let me go, or they would have brought out the thumb screws and the electric prods or something like that. But thankfully, that they didn't bring out the electric prod or the thumb screws or anything. They actually got scared and they figured, you know what? We don't want any trouble with the freaking Americans. This was before. Of course, this is before Barack Obama and Joe Biden became president and made us look like the laughing stock of the freaking world. This is when they were actually really concerned about America's power. So they actually let me out, and thank God they let me out. And the next couple of days later, I flew back to Moscow, and I got the hell out of that country, and I was happy to get out of the country. So why did I go back there a year later? So the moral of the story is when you're over in Russia, be careful what you photograph or video, and don't ever make jokes about being an American spy, okay? So I hope you like this little video, and I wanted to thank my beautiful wife for making this video here because I love her so much.